Usually, when applying for a job, you need to include a cover letter with your resume. This workshop focuses on cover letters, and we will be looking at questions and answers that you have about them. Specifically, we will be looking at these three things. First, the purpose and goals of cover letters. Second, what you should include in a cover letter. And third, the most common cover letter content. We'll be explaining these three things in more detail shortly. What is a cover letter? A letter you send with your resume when you are applying for a job. You could think of it as the first page of your resume. A cover letter tells the employer that you are applying for a position and a brief description about that. It also briefly describes your qualifications for that position. Here's a question for you. Do you think employers read cover letters? The answer is maybe. Some employers like to read cover letters and decide whether they should look at the resume based on what they see. Others prefer to skip the cover letter and get right to the resume. Do I really need a cover letter? The answer is yes. Since you don't know if the employer will read the cover letter or not, you should always send one. What are the two main goals for a cover letter? 1, you want to get readers interested enough to read your resume. Your cover letter should tell people that you are interested in the position and give them a brief description of your qualifications to do that job. Now, the cover letter is not a duplication of the resume, but a preview of who you are. The cover letter should leave the reader wanting to learn more about you. Convince the reader to invite you in for an interview. If the cover letter does its job, then it will lead the reader to your resume. Between the cover letter and the resume, you want the reader to realize that you are a good fit for the job and that they would like to meet you in person to discuss the position. Ultimately, you want the reader to want to invite you in for an interview. Here are the purposes and objectives of cover letters. Introducing yourself to the employer. You must explain to the reader who you are and get them interested in you. Second, explain why you are writing the cover letter, and specifically what position you are applying for. Make a good impression. You achieve this through the demonstration of your communication skills, enthusiasm, and confidence in the cover letter. Strongly match you to a specific position. Your qualifications, experience, education, skills, and achievements should match what the employer is looking for. Capture the reader's interest in you, your resume, and your availability. The reader should see you as a possible candidate for the job, and this should lead them to want to look more closely at your resume. Now you want to motivate the reader to review your resume and contact you for an interview. Having reviewed your resume, the reader should be interested in contacting you for an interview. Cover letters are written in a business letter format. They are formatted with the following business letter parts: the writer's name and address. This means your name and address. Then the date, meaning the date you are sending the cover letter. Address. This is the address where you will be applying for the job. Salutation. This is a greeting for whoever is going to be reading the letter. Now we have the body of the letter. This is where you tell the reader in 2 or 3 paragraphs what position you are applying for and briefly explain your qualifications. And finally, complimentary close. This is where you thank the reader for taking the time to read your cover letter and sign your name. Here are the general guidelines for writing a cover letter. Type all letters. Handwriting is simply unacceptable. It is important you use a standard 12-point font that is easy to read. Use single spacing for text and double spacing between paragraphs. Use 1.5-inch margins at the top, bottom, and sides of the letter. Address each letter to a specific individual. Include the person's name and title in the address. Never use "to whom it may concern." As a last resort, you can use these 2 options. First, "Dear Hiring Manager," or second, "Dear Human Resources Professional." The body of a cover letter should include, first, the intro, an introductory paragraph to focus the reader and grab their attention. Second, a match. 1 to 2 additional paragraphs providing background summary, how you can add value to the company, and other relevant personal traits that would make you an outstanding candidate. That, in turn, makes you more marketable than the other candidates. Third, action. A call for action from the reader. This is where you specifically ask them for an interview. Fourth, appreciation. A statement of appreciation to the reader for taking the time to read your cover letter, and hopefully they will consider you for the position. The introductory paragraph states the purpose of your letter. Are you responding to an employment advertisement? Or did someone within the organization refer you? It is important to arouse the reader's interest now so that he or she will want to read further. Otherwise, if you don't capture their interest, your cover letter and resume may be heading for the trash. Your introductory paragraph should be followed by 1 or 2 paragraphs that accomplish the following. Demonstrate your ability to be value-adding. What value will you add to the company if they hire you? Highlight your key strengths and abilities. And third, briefly summarize relevant education and experience and tailor it for that position. You must address every specific qualification in the job posting. Show the reader exactly how you can meet each qualification they are looking for in that job description. Now remember, do not take the information directly from their job description and copy it word for word. Your action statement is next. Your statement should accomplish all of the following. Requesting a personal interview. And it is important to inform the employer that you will be following up with them. And remember, always end with a thank you for your consideration. Here are some general cover letter content guidelines you should follow. Absolutely no spelling or grammatical errors whatsoever. Do not overuse the word I. And somewhere in your letter, you should invite the reader to read your resume. We have 2 examples here. 1, as you can see from my enclosed resume. Or 2, I invite you to read the enclosed resume where you will find, and then you can elaborate. It is not necessary to explain reasons for leaving former employers in the cover letter. Now you have a good idea about the purpose, goals, structure, and content of a cover letter. If you need additional assistance in developing cover letters, I encourage you to contact your local Michigan Works office for an appointment to meet with a staff member who will assist you.